Hello again. We are going to finish our stencil prints by doing layer number 2. So everybody, before they start this, should watch the earlier video of layer 1. That's really important. If you print layer 2 first, you're not going to see it at the end. It's going to be very sad for you. So after you've print layer 2, you need to gather up your supplies. They're very similar to last lesson. So here we go. You're going to need, number 1, a magazine, painter's palette, right? So we're using a magazine for a painter's palette. You're going to need a sponge brush, right? You're going to need your stencil, layer number 2 for this part. Okay, so this is my stencil layer number 2. And you're going to need the 4 sheets of paper that you printed on already. So this is my layer number 1 print, okay? And then you're gonna need some paper towel just in case it gets a little messy, okay? So we're gonna take stencil layer number 2 for the first part. And we're gonna find the paint we want. I am gonna do blue because it's a complementary color and that's what I decided. I'm using this much paint. I do not need more than this much, right? About the size of a $50. And then I'm gonna use my brush and soak up that paint on my brush, my sponge brush. Right now there's like quite a lot of paint on my brush, so I'm just gonna even it out, make sure that my brush has paint on all parts of it so that when I use it, I can use it well. Okay, and then I'm gonna take my layer number 2 and line up my corners, right? So I want my layer number 2 to be lined up on top of stencil layer 1. You can see that orange popping through there, but I'm gonna cover that part in blue, right? I decided to line up my stencil at the bottom for layer number 2 with my white paper, so these corners are all matched up. It's actually my bottom right corner that's really matched up, all right? So now after I do that, I'm gonna take my paintbrush, my foam paintbrush, and I'm gonna stencil in the blue. And when I do this, I'm just dabbing because that's the easiest way to get into these small spots. And just remember, I'm not painting the whole stencil, I'm just trying to get into the holes, right? So if you have really fine lines, it's easy to dab. This is a really good way to use the brush to get into those small lines. And you're trying to cover up every cut hole that you've got with that blue paint, right? If I miss a part, say I do this, and I do it pretty sloppy, and I don't get all of the orange covered up, right? Can you see that? If I lift off, I'm not gonna have a good image, right? I'm not gonna have a good image. So this is from not filling in my paint all the way. All right, if I mess up like that, you know what? It's gonna be really hard to line these back up. You can try your best. Sometimes it's just easier to do it better on the next one as you go. So I'm just gonna finish this up for you so you've got a good sense of how stencil printing works. Okay, and then you peel this off. And now you've got 2 layers on your print, right? We've got this white background, and we've got Obama in blue and orange. All right, and at the end, you want to check after you do one. Look, on the back of my stencil, I see some blue paint, so I'm going to use a paper towel and try to wipe that away, get all of the residue off. So when I go to print again, when I put it down, I don't get a ghost print of this stencil from the back, okay? Once you're finished, make sure you take this sponge brush and put it in water. It's acrylic paint. If you don't put it in water, our sponge brush will turn into a rock and never be usable again, all right? So this is how you print the second layer of your print series.